It's truly amazing, really nothing short of just astonishing, the degree to which leftists in their crusade against racism, so-called, can call out humour, jokes, even disparaging, even insulting comments about people of another race that are substantially in the realm of humour, and portray this and have it pretty generally accepted that if you make a joke about somebody's race, that's cattle trucks, concentration camps, and Zyklon B, you know. Like as if there's a real kind of substantive connection between these two things. I grew up telling Italian jokes, and maybe black jokes as well. And back in those days, that really means I hated Italians. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't hate Italians. Why would I, you know? I'm sure I told Greek jokes too and discovered that I had Greek ancestry. And I'd still tell Greek jokes if there were any good ones around. I had a Jewish friend. Oh yeah, I had a Jewish friend, you know. I'm really progressive. We were talking about Jewish jokes, and he said, well, you know, the Jews probably invented most of them, which I dare say is true. Is telling a racial joke, I mean, do you really hate somebody of another race? Does it really endanger them? Yeah? Really now? In fact, I'd be inclined to think that the vast majority of racism accusations that I've heard over the decades are in that category. And the left has been given a really, really easy ride with this stuff. And it's time they were held accountable for this and asked to explain the sort of substance of why telling a racial joke or even making fun of people of another race is something akin to genocide. And they do successfully make that connection. And get this, the left doesn't care about racial jokes. They're only using these things as a wedge issue to push their subversive, radical, ideological worldview, which gives their lives meaning. That's all that this stuff has ever been about. And who do you think are the real racists in our society according to their definition of the term? Well, they are. Why? Because they routinely disparage white people in every possible way. You've only got to look at the entertainment industry. I remember years ago, black comedian Richard Pryor being described by Time magazine as someone who makes fun of stupid white guys. Yeah, like if you spoke about stupid black guys today, how far would you get? And even back then, how far would you get? You're free to say anything you want about white people as a racial group and get away with it. And everybody knows it. There was a classic case some years ago which really proves that leftists are just looking for a cause, confecting something out of thin air. I think it was a radio commentator, maybe a journalist, who described a group of people he was speaking disparagingly of as slanty-eyed. He was talking about people who were shifty and untrustworthy. It had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with a racial group of any kind. And he was sacked, dismissed, annihilated, massacred, and otherwise disapproved of. Got the full treatment. And this really showed up the left for what they are. Just political shit stirrers, essentially. I was in England many years ago as a young adult. I was really made to feel bad about being an Australian, even though I belonged to the same racial group as the British people. And I wasn't there long before I realised that people in the north of England hate the people in the south of England, and vice versa. The same ethnically, basically the same people. And so in my case, I just suck it up and get on with my life. And I think of all the disparaging comments I've heard Arabs apply to Indians. That never gets a run. And the fact is that all ethnic groups feel alien to other ethnic groups and will frequently couch that in derogatory language. But hey, get over it, get a life. And there's the incredibly perverse fact of that it's really mainly white people driving this anti-racism stuff without regard to any sort of racism that might exist in other ethnic groups. They just seem, exempt from any criticism. It truly can be said, the only people who can commit racism are white people. And you get white people driving this against other white people because, those white people, they're just all racists, which is a kind of a racist comment, wouldn't you say? And there's the deep psychological thing going on here of what drives leftism is the search for meaning in the spiritual vacuum of the Western world from the second half of the 20th century, especially. And all that comes down to the fact that you self-actualize, you actualize your life to the greatest possible extent by bagging out your own kind, because that really heightens the effect of your superior social consciousness. And that's a deep, dark psychological theme that needs to be dealt with in another video, which I will be doing very shortly. In the days when Pauline Hanson burst on the Australian political scene, I think it was the Age newspaper, or one of the Fairfax newspapers, described Queenslanders who had voted her into power as village idiots. Yeah, like all the Queenslanders are village idiots. That's a generalised piece of stereotyping, isn't it? Yeah, wouldn't you say? Is that racism? Well, sounds a bit like it to me. And they gloried in this. They just felt so superior about saying this. Yeah, writing off every Queenslander as a village idiot. And the millions who voted for Trump, the deplorables, portrayed as complete idiots. Many of these people have educational qualifications far in advance of their detractors. But no, half the American population are idiots. But that's not racism. Yeah, right. The reality is that jokes and disparaging comments about people of other races, minority groups, and especially black people, are another manifestation of what I describe as white people are always up here and black people are always down there. They're just a convenient cause, because the differences between white and black people are so obvious, on all levels, and they can just make political capital out of this. It is political capital. It's just something that's always there that they can always exploit. blacks as a convenience victim group is not the same thing as caring about people or warding off genocide. That's it for now.